This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Hi everyone.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's space. With I'll just welcome everyone. Thank you for joining, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. I would hand over to Suleiman to continue.
Yeah, good evening everyone. So my name is Kamadin Suleiman. I'm a developer relation at Go54. So today we are going to talk about cybersecurity in digital age, strategy of protecting data. So today we have one of the experts in the industry of cybersecurity. We have Oluwatobi. Oluwatobi is a highly experienced and seasoned cybersecurity professional with a proven track record, various domains within the cybersecurity field. He's the co-founder of Cybersecurity Education Initiative, a driving force in cybersecurity community. He is also the community lead at Diary of Hackers, a flagship community under Cybersecurity Education Initiative that helps to build cybersecurity talent and aid a sustainable digital future. His dedication and tenacity, alongside his keys to building a more resilient and secure future, has played a key role in ensuring the success of every project organized by organization. So firstly, I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us today, whether you are a seasoned cybersecurity professional or a budding expertise, or simply curious about safeguarding your digital assets. We are thrilled to have you here today. So throughout today's session, we are going to be exploring strategy of protecting data and mitigating cyber threats in our increasingly digital world. So Oluwatobi will share invaluable insights draw from his wealth of experience in the field and encourage you all to actively participate by asking questions and sharing your thoughts. So before we begin, a quick reminder to keep the conversation respectful and engaging. We are here to learn from each other and work towards a safer digital environment for all. So without further ado, let's get started. So Oluwatobi, the mic is over to you now. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
All right. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Can you confirm if you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So I hope this is an interactive section. When you handed me over the mic, I thought we are going to be interacting. Okay. Um, so, like I've been introduced, it's a pleasure to be here with everyone today. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to go 54. Um, and this is a kind of a very timely topic, given the fact that we have several emerging technologies right now in cybersecurity going, and there's a need for us to look at ways whereby we can protect um, our data and also mitigate cyber threats. All right. So I would like for us to look at this from different facets. All right, because given the fact that we handle data, we all handle data differently. We handle data as individuals. We handle data as organization. All right. So basically, that's like the two main things. And we also handle data as a nation. So personally, business, and nationally, which are the three categories there. So how do we then protect this data in all these different stratas? All right, given the fact that this digital age is already evolving. Now, I want to start with the personal, for instance. Now, on our own day to day as individuals, how we handle data and how we can actually protect ourselves from cyber threats. Um, Everything you post online can be aggregated as a jigsaw puzzle of you at the end of the day, from your name to your address to your bank account numbers, your phone numbers, whichever way it is. For everything you post online, all it just takes is just time. All those data can be aggregated to form a complete biography of your person. So now, and given the fact that we already have things like AI, machine learning, big data that aggregate tons of data and is processed to give some sort of outcomes and, should I say, intelligence, let's say an artificial intelligence, for instance, based on the data being fed. So we have seen different scenarios whereby identity theft is on the high rise, whereby not just someone's data is being impersonalized, but the fact that they can create a replica of somebody, not just by the data, but facial expression, conversational base, even down to the voice. All right. But during one of our programs, we are creating a particular data, or rather, we're creating speakers that's going to talk in one of our conferences. And a particular speaker had a particular picture, and that was the only picture. Some of my team thought, oh, this picture was not a nice one because, come on, you are using the same old picture over and over and over again. And someone said something that there's a possibility that that person is trying to keep a very low digital footprint, in the sense that the person is trying to limit the amount of data in circulation of his own person. You might think, oh, he's very paranoid, but that is just an active thinking. Cybersecurity as its whole is not just about the practice, it's a mindset. It's how you position your mind. So, from all the data we post online, we have to be able to be careful of what we post online. We have to be able to be careful what we put out there and what kind of information we share. Because once we're able to tackle those things, we're already gaining, should I say, a sense of security around our own data. All right. So down to the cyber threat now. The threat landscape is still evolving and it's ever evolving, given the fact that technology is the underlying factor there. And technology changes every day. All right. So if this technology is evolving, that means the cyber threat is also evolving. So what I might say today might be redundant tomorrow because the threat landscape has changed. But it still remains the basic principles of having to change your password regularly, for instance. All right. Having backups of our data, updating data frequently. All right. And also um, not using cracked software. I had a conversation with someone here, not someone here per se, someone reached out to me. I got my contact from a friend of mine. And the issue with the person was that the person said he was looking for a cybersecurity expert to consult, that he has been having issues with spyware for over 2 years. Now, my first question, how do you know you have spyware on your device? It was like, if I type, it gets deleted, gets to see clickers on the screen and all. And this has been going on for 2 years. He said, yes. I said, have you tried to format your device, get a new device? It's like every time he does that, he understands that he's being tracked or he's being bugged. Now, the next question now goes in line that what are those same things that you have been doing for the past 2 years? What do you do with your system? Are you graphics? Are you, the person says into tech. Do you use applications? The person said yes. I said, you pay for applications, and the person could not talk. Now I now knew exactly what the issue is. You complain of having spyware, you probably format your system because maybe you use the cracked software. But when you finish formatting, you went back and installed the what? The cracked software. At that same time, leaving your system vulnerable to a possible hijack. The cycle keeps going again. So I was like, let the person go around and check what is that thing he consistently keeps downloading and installing. The person said, oh no, it's no longer a spyware, it's an SSS. I was like, it's still the same thing. Which websites do you visit? Do you visit legitimate websites? Do you visit malicious websites? If you visit malicious websites, there's an high tendency that you are getting involved in a site that steals cookies or can be able to send in data into your own device just by visiting it. Some persons might think it's impossible, but there was a practical with B at the Lagos Cyber Meetup. That was far back as 21. What we did was, I think I don't, let me see if I still have that particular website. I think it's news something. If I get it, I'll send it across. All right. What that website does is once you go on the website by default writes to your clipboard. So you visit the website, it automatically writes to your clipboard. So if you are to paste something somewhere, you are going to paste what the website has written to your clipboard. Now, to protect, it just goes to show how our habits or what habits we portray when we use the digital environment, digital ecosystem. So I told that person to go and reevaluate his actions down to the sites he visits, down to the kind of applications he has installed on his device so he can actually protect himself. And the second thing I told the person is actually ensure to put 2FA in place. Probably someone has already stolen your credentials, but you don't know that. But if you have 2FA, it's an extra layer of backup for you in regards to security. Use complex password, always change passwords. This helps to mitigate the cyber threat. Now, with the ever increasing adoption of artificial intelligence now, we're going into a place whereby you can actually design based on what you see alone. You can actually design based on what you hear alone. But a robot will always be a robot. Humans will always be humans. You will always observe and you will know. You will find out. So protecting ourselves in this or mitigating cyber threats in this landscape requires an extra level of attention than usual. I'll still go back to some of the things we do. There are times whereby we ask for certain form of application for people that want to work with us. Immediately I cite an AI written text. I know because of the kind of vocabulary, because of the kind of things that are involved. But let's not. I know there was a particular time that it trended about a particular vocabulary being used by AI, but you get to know that this is AI, different from a legitimate human being. So we have to be able to like pay an extra caution. All right. Look, always verify. Zero trust. Trust forward, verify. In as much as you know this is the person, always have a second factor of authentication that you can use to um, validate anybody you're engaging with online, okay, or anything you are doing online. Always have a different level of authentication away from the internet that you can actually use to verify. All right. So let's go to the business part of things. All right. This is more of the individual stuff. Let's go to the business part of things in regards to both the data and how to mitigate cyber threats. I hope I'm quite audible enough. Kindly confirm you can hear me, please.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great stuff. So, how do we do this? Do we take questions at the end or take questions during?
Yeah, we should take question at the end of the speech.
All right, perfect. All right, so we'll take question at the end now. All right, so going down to the business aspect of things in regards to data, most of what I've mentioned earlier is just based on individual interaction with data. Now we are going to corporate data. Now, that is a quite sensitive kind of data type, given the fact that that is what threat actors and malicious actors will be on the lookout for. Those are those data that hold value because inside business data, you can also find personal data, you can find financial data, you can find intellectual properties, you can find um, classified secrets, top level information in the business data. So it's an entity that contains so much data in it. All right. So protecting it goes to certain things like access control. All right. Employing principles like the principles of least privilege. Don't give people access to what they don't require. The principle of least privilege says give to people what they require to get their job done, not more than. So if a particular person needs a data, fine, give them the data. Now you have to classify that data. Does the person need to edit the data? Does the person need to make some form of modification? Does the person need to only see the data? Now, you'll be able to make a well-informed decisions once you are able to put some of those things into retrospect when you think about them. All right, thinking about the CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Do I want to maintain the integrity of this data? If the answer is yes, then such person shouldn't have the right access. If I want to maintain the confidentiality, then I will know that the person shouldn't get the read access or even the write access. All right. Then if you want to ensure the availability, you're looking at backing up those data. All right. But I want to just focus on the access control. All right. So if someone needs to edit, you give him right access. If he doesn't, you don't, you revoke that access. If the person only needs to see, put that into play. All right. Because I've seen this firsthand, whereby attribution could not be made, but data was leaked. We had something, a project ongoing, and we asked the question online. And for some reason, or for some reasons, yeah, we are able to see some of our data that we have not made public open. but we could not attribute it to whoever leaked the data. So that's why most times when we operate with some of our data, what we do is to ensure that anybody having access to it is actually registered. That means you're using emails to actually assign permissions to any form of files or data we are sharing with someone. Why? So that once a data is leaked, proper investigation can be conducted and proper attribution can also be conducted. So I'll also go to the next thing in regards to network segmentation. All right. So when we talk about network segmentation, having different subnets to where people can connect. All right. Different segments have different risk profile. If I have classified information like let's say client information or customer PIIs, then I want to ensure that that particular segment is not accessible to everyone. All right, to ensure that only those that need to have access to it or communicate to that particular segment can actually do that. The second thing is data encryption. All right, data encryption is just to ensure that if data has been exfiltrated at some point, it is not intelligible. That's to say that it is not doesn't make any meaning, doesn't make sense to whoever exfiltrates data. So both are
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
rest and both in transit. Data needs to be what? Encrypted using secured algorithm. I think the internet runs on AES 128 at the moment, but I know there's 256, but that's its own bottleneck of being slow, but it's quite the most secure. All right, so I think the internet has set it for AES 128, which is very quite secure. And it goes to the simple implementation of things like SSL during data transmission over HTTP. So immediately you put in SSL, you have a secured communication. Or if it's an FTP, an FTPS, you already have a secured communication. All right. So also data backup. Most organizations are falling victim to things like ransomwares, are falling victim to different form of malware that have affected the business continuity and has cost them money. All right. So in that light, things like backup, be it either hot, warm, or cold, serve as a possible restore point to ensure that business continues almost immediately after a certain kind of attack that may have happened. All right. So we'll also look at implementation of firewalls tools. Just give me a minute. All right. Thank you. All right. So can you confirm you can hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right. Great stuff. All right. So implementation of security solution, firewalls, endpoint security, anti-phishing. It goes to protect the whole enterprise. All right. So now let's talk about some of the threats. Now, there was an organization that lost close to 400, yeah, I think it's some $40 million. Pardon me, please. An organization lost close to like 40 million, given the fact that an AI tool was used to have a conference call with the bots, and they were not able to detect that, and funds were released. So AI tool is still affecting the business landscape too as well, since it is all round. Like I said, anything dependent on technology is vulnerable to those emerging technologies. We are at the how do I say it now? We are the messes of those technologies, given the fact that we are leveraging on them. Now, we also look at things like business email compromise, where AI too has helped to craft very convincing phishing mails that are now used for business email compromise, whereby it's more of a whaling kind of attack rather than a regular phishing, whereby top executives are being targeted with different forms of phishing. All right. So from the regular phishing to a more advanced phishing, given the fact that AI now can have craft out um, phishing mails without errors, which were some of the IOCs that some of these anti-phishing mails were able to um, use to detect, should I say, a phishing mail. So, but now we are having a situation whereby these mails are well crafted. These mails are spotless. These mails are something you can't even detect because even after using ChatGPT to write it, there are other AI tools that their own function is just to ensure that it is more human than AI. Now, looking at all those things now, you get to see that businesses are still affected. Now, and you see situations whereby the staff and employee are part of, let's say, the weakest links in this regard. Because in as much as we are putting all the security measures in place, they are still the persons that operate these security solutions. They are the person behind systems. So there's a need for constant security awareness to be able to mitigate security threats. So in as much as these threats are evolving, there's a need for constant education, there's a need for constant security awareness. So in-house, as organizations should be able to conduct security awareness to allow people stay abreast of what is out there as the threat landscape is moving and changing. What my parents might fall prey to is something I might not fall prey to because of I have some level of knowledge in technologies um, and technologies that are being used. Okay, so I might not be able to cooperate due to the level of knowledge I have. So there's a need for a certain kind of knowledge transfer to employees to know, oh, this is what is out there. This is what you should be looking out for. To be able to stay appraised of things like that. All right, and continuous monitoring and also threat intelligence too as well. So I feel most organizations already employ SOC analysts. Most banks are already outsourcing their security operations to MSSPs to ensure that there's this continuous monitoring of those infrastructures at every point in time. All right. So while I was working over some few weeks ago, I just I was monitoring our cloud environment via the Google Cloud Security Control Center, and I saw something out of the not ordinary. I saw a particular IP address trying to connect one of our endpoints, and that was like the source IP, and the destination IP was our own node that we have running on one of our Kubernetes engines. All right. So immediately I was able to cite that. The next thing was to reach out to the DevOps engineer. Oh, this is what we are encountering. And the next thing, they had to like shut down that particular instance first. All right. So if there was no continuous monitoring, there's a possibility that that might be a possible initial access point whereby the malicious actor is able to gain foothold. All right. But that was able we were able to truncate that. But after that, we did threat intel, we did investigation, and we find out this IP address was even it's from Germany. Even Virus Total was able to mark it as malicious and spreads malware. So there's a need for continuous monitoring from organization endpoint. Now, going to national data. National data becomes very it changes the whole thing, because the kind of cyber threat that happens to a nation is one that are mostly sponsored by nation states and tend to have very, very adverse effects. All right, so let's go. There's this particular guy on Twitter, Parido, that tend to share very classified information. I'm no judge, I'm no jury, so I'm not taking a side. But this information, when brought to light, creates a lot of controversies, create a lot of um, insight into what is going on in the government. All right. Now, that is one form of national data. All right. And we have data whereby things like our NIN, EDN, our international passport credentials, or information we are submitting to national bodies. Those classify as national data. There was a time I was doing threat intelligence and I was able to track down some kind of data from the Nigerian police force and as well as the Nigerian Navy to the dark web. Now, those information were out there on sales by the malicious parties, having harvested that so much data, which can now be used for certain form of impersonation. Now, the thing about this national data is it covers a whole lot of demography and it covers different entities. So, male, female, military, paramilitary. Now, this information, when aggregated by malicious actor, can now be used to create a form of attack known as the information warfare, which is one of the very most prevalent form of cyber threat towards a nation state, the information warfare, where we talk about disinformation, malinformation, and misinformation, the MDMs. There are times you see a particular post, like, let me take you back to 2015 elections. There was a post that a news outlet gave out that INEC has been hacked. Now, that's an headline. INEC was hacked during an election period. And number one thing was that INEC was not hacked. INEC website was hacked. Now, you might think those information are similar, but they are completely different. INEC was hacked. INEC website was hacked. They are all completely different form of information. But to play a particular narrative, INEC was hacked was what was used. Now, what this does is to settle in the mind of common Nigerians that, oh, they don't hack INEC website. So whichever becomes the outcome of an election result at that point, most persons might have just thought about it, oh, they don't hack them already, now why? Now, it gives room for different kind of manipulations. We have seen situations whereby nation states like the UK and Russia actually go into this information warfare deep down, whereby they have news outlets that are there to pass out certain kind of information, to pass out certain kind of propaganda and narrative. Now, that's a cyber threat. And most times, for us to be able to protect ourselves as nation citizens, you evaluate, know how to spot false information. Because most times, some of this false information, you will just get them from your parents sometimes. You will see on WhatsApp forwarded. You will now see the forwarded different, or that means that the forwarded multiple times. Now, most times when my dad sends me something like that, I ask, has he seen the news? Where did he get the information from? Because if you don't tackle the information right from where you see it, it spreads from there. And that's how those information spreads. All right. So we should be able to identify those information. We should also be able to tell people not to spread false information. Number one thing to detect all those false information, check the date, check the headline, go to the legitimate source, counter check with a different news outlet to know exactly what kind of information has been passed. All right. So I won't want to take too much time, so we give room for questions. So, but this just covers up how we can stay online on, or rather, stay secure in this digital age on different levels. And still based on nation state, before I go, channels released a particular disclaimer of recent when one of their news presenter had an AI format of him saying something different other than what was covered on air. That is where we are heading to in terms of cyber threats, where you won't be able to detect what kind of threats we have. But if you're able to keep abreast and question everything and look for possible backups to things, to information, to authentication, some second level of information, some second level of authentication, just to ensure that it is 100, then we can still have an extra edge over this evolving threat landscape. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. So right about now, I will just take questions in case you have any. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for this amazing session, Oluwatobi. So now that you have heard from Oluwatobi and get valuable insights into cybersecurity strategies, let's open the floor for question, comment, and discussion. So if you have any question to ask our amazing speaker, you can just request for the mic now. If you have any question, you can just unmute yourself and talk. Yeah, any question? If you have any question to ask around maybe cybersecurity or anything regarding cybersecurity, he is here to answer your question. Yeah, so waiting for anyone to ask questions. So for you that doesn't know anything about Go54, so Go54 stand as number one hosting company in Africa, dedicated to delivering customer centric excellence by commitment to innovation and creativity. So Go54 is also Google host before we changed name to Go54. So they are one of the number one in Africa domain provider and hosting and other business tools and also marketing and email tools. So you can check out go54.com to learn more on what Go54 is all about. So if you have any question, kindly ask. So I will have a question to ask you, myself. Yeah. So the question is, yeah, I think it's two or, but I'm going to limit it to one. So my question is, okay, let me do it this way. What advice would you give to someone who want to pursue his or her career in cybersecurity? Like, what advice would you give to someone who can pursue his or her career in cybersecurity? Yeah. Oluwatobi, I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay.
Yeah, hear you. All right. So that question is a nice one, but it's quite dynamic given my kind of experience. Is the person starting out? is the person transitioning. Now, different starting points, we determine how one can enter into cybersecurity. Let's say starting out zero knowledge, then you start with the basics. Understand the concept of cybersecurity. Consume cybersecurity resources down to reading articles, cyber threat reports, news, listen to podcasts, digest cybersecurity content generally. Now, why am I saying that? Most people come into cybersecurity just because they want to hack. They want to become hackers, not knowing that cybersecurity, that's just like a very little bit about it. But once you're able to consume some of these resources, you'll be able to make well-informed decisions about what part of cybersecurity you would like to undergo or want to have a career in. Someone reached out to me, oh, I want to start cybersecurity. I said, what part? The person didn't even know there was different parts. I said, just go first. Do a research. Search about it. Find what tickles your fancy. You might see yourself as someone that likes to write, someone that likes to listen. And when you're doing cybersecurity, you find out that, oh, that has more inclination towards the GRC part. Some persons just want to protect. Some persons want to scatter ground and rebuild stuff. So that will just help you make a well-informed decision. And secondly, or rather thirdly, cybersecurity jobs might not be forthcoming. Given our own, let's say, current landscape here in Nigeria. So look out for jobs whereby you can grow into a cybersecurity role. Most persons just want to start with cybersecurity full front, but not knowing that cybersecurity is an underlying technology, is an underlying fact for different fields in tech. You might be doing IT support, for instance, very easy to get into. From IT support, you can start implementing security practices, start writing certifications towards security. But you say, I measure certifications last because you need to build capacity first. All right? Build capacity, do little things that regards to tech first before going to cybersecurity. That also applies for someone transitioning. All right? Probably you're already in a tech field. You just need to be able to understand what part of cybersecurity you want to do. If you're already in a tech field, how can I implement security in what I'm currently doing? All right, so from there you can build to becoming a fully fledged security professional. All right, then you can go for some certifications that helps you own your skills and gives you a kind of a badge of identification that you have been able to pass through this. So for beginners, you can try out Certified in Cyber, Security Plus, NetCard from Cisco, and the likes. So they have tons of free resources, even Google cybersecurity course on YouTube. It's always a great start for anyone who wants to start out in cybersecurity. So that's just my own bits and pieces for that person, yeah?
Wow, wow. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your insight and what you have been saying so far regarding the topic and also how you are able to answer the question perfectly. So if anybody have any questions to ask, kindly please request for the mic for you to ask your question before we round up this session. So due to the time, we have taken too much of Oluwatobi time today, close to an hour now. So if you have any question, kindly just request for the mic before we round up this session. I would like to ask more questions, but because of the time is not in our side right now. So it's going to be for another day on that time. So kindly follow Go54 for you to stay updated on whatever information that we are going to be sharing. And also kindly follow our speakers, which is Oluwatobi Mayana. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you can also DM me with your question. I will help you shoot it to Oluwatobi, or you can also DM me also. So I think in the absence of no question, we are going to okay. So thank you to everyone who joined us today for this insightful discussion on cybersecurity in digital age. So we hope you found this session valuable and gain new perspective on protecting data and mitigating cyber threats. So as we conclude, we encourage you to continue this conversation on cybersecurity in respective communities and workspace. So and remember, cybersecurity is a collective effort, and by staying involved and vigilant, we can all, contribute to a safer digital environment. So we'll be sharing recording of today's session shortly for those who couldn't join or want to revisit the discussion. So stay tuned for updates and future events and initiatives for Go54. So once again, thank you all for your participation and engagement. Have a great day. And thank you so much, Oluwatoyin. Okay, you have something to say. Okay.
Yeah, so just a quick one. Yeah, so for those that are still wanting to find out how to start out in cybersecurity, get more knowledge, and get insights. All right, so we at SciSaid are currently organizing the Africa Cyber Fest, which is going to be coming out or going to occur by next week, Friday and Saturday. So our Friday is typically going to be for a career workshop in cybersecurity, and the Saturday is going to be the main conference. So with that, you can be able to not just only get knowledge, but build a form of network that can help you start out in your cybersecurity, answer some of those questions that are bugging you in regards to cybersecurity. So you should check out africacyberfest.com, or you can check Africa Cyberfest on Twitter, on X rather, so that you can get more information and you're able to attend and you're able to get more clarity about how to can protect your data, how to stay safe in this evolving threat landscape, and how to get started in cybersecurity. It's a fully packed event, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of us. All right, so thank you very much. That's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, as he says, African Cyber Fest is one of the biggest cybersecurity events in Africa. So if you have time, try to attend. Try to attend. It's very, very important. You're going to gain a lot of insights if you are trying to get started in cybersecurity, or you are already in cybersecurity and you want to learn more on cybersecurity. You can just try to attend Africa Cyber Fest. So thank you so much for that information. So I think that's going to be the end of this session. And I'm going to use this moment to thank you again, Oluwatobi Mayana, for accepting our invitation for this amazing space. So we look forward to have more of this. So don't forget to follow Go54 and also follow our speakers also. So follow Go54 for you to be able to stay informed on upcoming events and also maybe our product updates. And don't forget, at Go54, if you don't know more of what Go54 is all about, we are number one hosting company in Africa, which is dedicated to delivering customer-centric excellence. So we offer both the website and hosting, and also we have different type of marketing and emails. Also, we offer business tools, like maybe you want to buy an SSL or you want to buy a Google Workspace, or you also want to use, we have different type of API. We have communication API. We have a lot of tools that you can use. You can visit go54.com to learn more on what we are all about. Thank you so much. So this is going to be the end of this Twitter space for today. Yeah. Cheers.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.